Grand Rising World, welcome back to Louder Than Nice. I am CC Boom, and I'm going to be talking about a very touchy subject. So, trigger warning, you've been warned. The title of this episode is called The Morning We Were Supposed to Plan Our Wedding. Losing Brennen changed me forever. Again, trigger warning. So, who's Brennen? Brennen is my late fiance. I have his name tattooed on me with his ashes in the ink, so he's always going to be a part of me no matter what. And yeah, here's my story. So I had to take notes on my phone just because I know I'm going to start crying, so I apologize in advance. Some stories change you forever, and this is one of mine. So I started recording this episode lots of times. I just want to say that this is probably like my 5th time trying to record it because I wasn't sure if I was ready. But this morning when I was trying to find something to wear, I found this shirt. It says Benny and the Jets. Yes, I'm an Elton John fan. I actually did see him in concert with Brennen, and I bought this shirt because when Brennen was a little boy, he told me, well, not when he was a little boy, but he told me when he was a little boy, he heard the song on the radio and he thought it said Brennen and the Jets. So the song always stood out to him, and he knew it was one of my bucket list goals, I guess you could say, to see Elton John in concert. And he actually took me to see Elton John in concert. So we've seen lots of concerts, but he was like, all right, if this makes you happy, let's go. So we went. But yeah, I put this shirt on, and then I heard his voice in my head saying, it's time to share the story. It's time to tell. And literally right now, as I'm saying that, my left ear just started going, whoa, ringing. And like I said, I'm a medium. I'm a psychic medium, tarot reader, healer. You can call me a witch. You can call me a bruja. You can call me whatever you want. I know what I am. Brennen knew what I was. We used to talk about it all the time. But yes, I heard him say it's time to tell a story. So today I'm sharing one of the most painful chapters of my life. Not because I want sympathy, because I don't, but because I know someone listening is carrying a loss that completely changed them. It changed them too, like this changed me. So this is the story of Brennen. The man I loved, I still love him, even though he's transitioned. This is the man I was supposed to marry. Sorry. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that this episode isn't about how Brennen died. I want it to be about how he lived. Okay? Because addiction was only one chapter of his life. It wasn't his entire story. And I want to make that very clear. So Brennen was so funny. He was so funny. And he always wanted to make things better any way he could. I met him when he was 10. Yes, there was an age gap. Yes, I'm a cougar. Don't fucking come for me. Don't judge me. But we were friends before we were anything. And I was a teenager. He was 10. I'm just going to leave it at that. But we were friends before anything. And he used to make me laugh. He used to come over to my grandma's house and hang out with my cousins. He used to tell stories. He was from Utah. He was just this tall, skinny, white guy who made us laugh and just was like, he had these beautiful eyes and just a strong personality. And like I said, he always wanted to make everything better. So we lost touch and we stopped talking for like years. He moved around. I moved around. He stayed in Arizona. He moved all over. He's lived in multiple states. And I was going through a separation with my ex-husband. And again, I'm a survivor of DV. And Brennen knew that. I was going through that, and he wanted to save me and help me. But I was already okay. But he knew my ex was still coming around, threatening me, threatening my life, threatening to take my children, etc. And Brennen was like, "No, not happening. Not as long as I'm here." So he would hang out with me at my house. He would hang out with me. He would hang out outside of my house to make sure I was okay, to make sure that nobody was coming, to just make sure no one was there to hurt me in any way, shape, or form. He would go to work. He'd come back. He'd hang out, and then little by little, we started developing a relationship beyond just our friendship. So it was a great relationship in the beginning. I knew that he had an addiction. Um, at that time, I was going through a lot of stuff, and he was trying to get sober so that he could help me face everything. And I told him, "No, you need to worry about you, not me." So he was continuously trying to overcome his addiction, his opiate addiction. We'll just call it that. Again, um, this isn't about his addiction. This is just a chapter of his life. Addiction was just a chapter. But he was very kind. He was very caring. He knew I had children. Automatically just accepted my children as his own. Um, Wanted to help me raise them, wanted to help me take care of them, wanted to help me provide for them. Made sure I got to and from work, made sure they I was able to spend time with my children because there was transition period where I moved, and they were still in school, so I had them stay with my mother for a little while I was transitioning from one home to the other and getting everything situated and restraining orders with my ex and just a whole bunch of stuff. But Brennan was there, and he was my rock, and he was supporting me in lots of ways through that tough time in my life. And I used to love how he would always just like make me laugh. He would say the funniest stuff to just make me laugh, and his laugh was very contagious. His energy was contagious. He literally would walk. He knew so many people. He would walk into rooms, and he just knew people, and they knew him. Um, you know, he just was something else. He was his mother's only child. Um, his dad had other children, but he was his mom's baby, and I still talk to her to this day. Mama Stephanie. I love her with all my heart. We see each other whenever we can, but she's helped me and my children. She did. She did lose a son, but she gained a daughter and grandchildren. Brennan did have two daughters. He does have two daughters, two twins. Um, Riley and Taylor. He never got to meet them. Come to find out, when he was doing his research, we hired a private investigator, and we were private investigators too because we were just nosy. He found out that their mother had passed, that their mother transitioned. So those two girls lost their mother and the father they never got to meet. Maybe one day they'll see this and they'll get to know who their dad was just a little bit more through me. And I have all his stuff still. Have it safe in storage, and I hope one day I can give a lot of his belongings to them and tell the stories attached to them because Brennan had a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say he was a hoarder, but he would have these backpacks with stuff in them. Like each backpack had a story and an adventure, I guess you could say, with the contents inside. It's the best way I can put it into terms. But one day I hope to give those girls the truth about their dad. But we had lots of dreams of growing old together. We were together for, I want to say 4 years, a little under 4 years. maybe even 5, 4.5 years. It's a long time. No, yes, 4 years. Um, sorry, I'm just trying to like keep it together for everybody. I've already cried a lot. I loved Brennen. I love Brennen, but I loved him then because he didn't have to help me. He didn't have to want to help me. He had nothing to gain from helping me. He didn't have to love me. He didn't have to talk to me. He didn't have to reach out to me, but he did. He didn't have to help me with my kids, but he did. We wanted to. We were breeding German Shepherds. I have 4 German Shepherds still. But we had this love for dogs and we wanted to be able to breed dogs that were good dogs and give them loving homes and help families find, their fur babies. And we did that for a while. So that was something that we wanted to do. We wanted to travel. We wanted to go all kinds of places, but just so many things stopped us from doing that, including his addiction. So that's just a little bit about Brennen. Okay. And the photos of us, I'm sure you have seen, are, like here's one of our first photos together. Look at that eyebrow. Look at that motherfucking eyebrow on me. He was a good looking guy. He was good looking. He always did this weird, funny thing with his tongue. After like everything happened and I had to plan the funeral with his mom, we were looking at photos of him and he'd been doing this little tongue thing since like he was a baby, but he always did it in pictures. I don't know why, but yeah, there's us again. So yeah, that was just a little bit of Brennen. And yeah, I knew this was gonna happen, the transition, because I had dreamt it. Again, psychic medium. I've had prophetic dreams my entire life. Okay, guys, my entire life. Can't control it. It just happens. But before I get to that part, I have only told a handful of people about this, but I'm telling the whole world now because I can. Damn it. So, like I said, I'm a medium, and throughout my life, I've had these dreams. Sometimes they felt like warnings. Sometimes they felt symbolic. And sometimes most of the time, they came true. So, nothing I could do to help it. Give me a second.